It's a Tuesday here on Jasiri, and today we're starting with something simple. Something we all know, bread. From the bakeries that line our streets to the rising cost that hits every household, bread tells a story about survival, creativity, and resilience in Nigeria's economy. But as we move from the kitchen to the cloud, there's another story we cannot ignore, one about technology, about power, and about fear. Artificial intelligence was meant to make life easier, smarter, and more connected. But for many women, it's become something darker, a weapon. A new documentary exposes how this new wave of technology is being used to violate women, turning innocent images into explicit content, silencing their voices online. It's Tuesday, and we're talking food, fear, and the future, all through the power of lens, policy, and people. You see what we did there? So first on the agenda.
Anyway, first on the agenda, the Premium Bread Bakers Association of Nigeria, or PBAN, is a government-registered body representing premium bread makers across the country. The association works to protect the interests of bread makers, foster unity among members, engage key industry stakeholders, and promote high standards through training, retraining, and the production of quality and healthy bread for consumers. So joining us now is the Managing Director of 1116 Limited, the owners of Breadworth Bakery, Adjiat Olopade. I wanted to put the hyphen in that name. Adjiat Olopade. Welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Vias.
I mean, we have to compound the name, please.
Yes, compound the name.
No, I understand her. Olani Olopade.
Mrs. Olani Olopade, it's good to have you join us here. I mean, I know many people are hearing about the Premium Bread Makers of Nigeria for the very first time. Although it's not the first time for me, but can you tell us about PBAN and the benefits of being a member on there?
Okay, Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria is a registered association of professional bakers in Nigeria. We were set up to foster unity amongst bakery owners and advocate for interest of our members and support ourselves, train ourselves professionally, and network amongst each other. So at the end of the day, we are producing healthy and wholesome bread to the populace. So that's the essence of the association. Nice. And for each member, the benefits are enormous. When you join, you are joining a team of professionals. Virtually all of us have been in different industries before we started bread making. So we're joining with experience, diverse experience. We have technology-driven businesses. We have financial connections. So when you join Premium Bread Makers, you know you are joining where you're coming home. You know that when you're joining an association of professionals that when you have any business running, you can run to, and they'll be able to support you. We train. We have that's why we're having
A day out
in the next 2 days, which is coming at the Necker House. It's going to start from 9 a.m. till late in the evening, about 4. We're having master classes. We've realized that we need to train and retrain ourselves so that we can be better. We're having master classes. We're having exhibitions.
Wait, baking master classes or business strategy and things like that?
Business strategies, how to run your business profitably, innovations in baking. There's so many things coming up in baking. Wow. We're going to talk about what is going to happen, tax reforms next year, how it's going to affect businesses, a lot of things.
So I think that's actually really good. It's quite interesting to see that PBAN is doing that, because right now there seems to either be a bakery on every corner, or if not a bakery, there's bread available for you on every corner in every street across the country. is the business really that profitable? And in terms of even competition, because I know there are things competing for people's money now. And sometimes families, depending on their size, also have to consider how far a loaf of bread might go. So tell us about the profitability of the business and how people like you are dealing with competition and what that competition might even be. Is it meat pie that's the competition? But meat pie is still bread. What's the actual competition for you? Bread is bread.
Fine, okay. I'll start from, you know, bakery business early. I started 2013. When we started, you have professionals that are thinking of how to diversify and make money. So there's so many bakeries that started then. And it was quite good when we started. The competition wasn't this bad. It wasn't this. But during COVID, the story changed. You know, during COVID, it was only the food business that was
not seemingly untouched.
Yes, it was untouched. So it was, during that time, it seemed as if everybody woke up that, oh, so there's an aspect of business that can survive despite everything. So then that was when you had supermarkets going into bakeries. I know ShopRite came and started, but despite that fact, most bakeries did not, most supermarkets did not start. But then you now have supermarkets, all of them going into bakeries, but they realized that, oh, despite the shutdown of the economy, the bakeries were doing, they were still working and, you know, supposedly were making money. So that brought enormous, virtually all the supermarkets in Lagos started having bakeries. If you can think back 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. So after the influx of the supermarkets, you now come to neighborhood. Nothing was happening in your neighborhood. A typical Nigerian thinks that, oh, people will eat, and oh, when I bake bread. And you know, the point of entry into bakery is so easy. By the time you have an oven, you don't even need any other thing. You can manually do everything. You've started a business, and you can sit in the front of your house and bake one bag of flour. You're selling bread. So that's why you have bread in every nook and cranny of the, but it's no longer as robust as it used to be. We've had increase in prices of raw materials in the past 2 years.
And we're talking about
100%.
Bread now,
flour,
or just everything.
Everything, all the inputs that goes into making it.
Prior to 2 years ago, flour was about 25,000 per bag. As you speak today, a bag of flour is averaging 60,000.
Well, probably that's because there's a demand, because everyone seems to be eating bread. Whether we, you know, like Tolu said, it's almost like in every neighborhood there's a popular, I don't want to call the brand of the supermarket, but there's a popular brand. That is in every, like neighborhood. Every neighborhood. Yeah, it's there. Yes. So bread is bread. Bread has been I know some people are saying a staple food. People are staying away from bread now consciously because probably doctors say, well, we're doing the whole sometime. Most bakeries are doing the healthy ones now. So what have been the interesting developments that you've seen along, you've been a bread owner, like a bread maker in the bread business. For 13 years now. For 13 years. So the key changes along the way, key developments. You mentioned technology, you're having a masterclass on that. Technology, and then of course, and then adaptation. Have people's tastes in bread adapted? Some people still prefer the agege bread. You understand? But
if you want to call my name, call my name.
People like Judith.
No, people like me. I would only eat agege bread and other sophisticated bread.
Okay, thank you. You know, the general mentality is like bread will sell. But the average household in Nigeria, the economy has affected everybody's purchasing power. It is enormous. And I think it has affected the bakery business more than any other business. Everybody, you know, in so many households, bread is like a snack. You see bread, you eat, it's like a snack. Prior to COVID, the drive for bakery business was to make the huge loaves. We had a loaf that was weighing 1.4 kg. Yes, our biggest loaf. Oh yes, people buy, families, they buy it.
1.4 kg of bread.
Oh yes, that's our biggest loaf. We call it jumbo. Okay. So now, you know, when the economy started, purchasing power, people started dropping. We have Our most selling bread now is 300 grams. You can imagine from 1.4.
Use your hand to show us what.
1.4 was like this, and we have a bread like sandwich loaf now, 300. That's what is sustaining most bakeries now, because that's what Nigerians could afford. So you see people now, like before, you see that people were buying the big loaves.
Yeah.
But the big loaf, the 1.4 kg now retails for about 2,200. So how many households will be able to afford 2,200?
Yes.
So you see people buying 300 naira bread. Sells like pure water. When the 300 naira loaf started, I for one felt, I said my bakery will not do. I felt, how can I be doing? It was like, initially it was like the local bakeries that do such. But when the reality dawned on us that we're not selling. And you had to
give the people what they want, pay for.
Exactly. And you see your customers telling you, madam, you're not doing these small loaves. This is work, and so this is what the people are asking for.
Wow.
So you see now the reality of adapt to the economy is no longer buoyant. Yes, we still sell the jumbo loaves, but not as we used to. It's the small loaves, the 300 naira, the 500 naira loaves that is sustaining the business now.
So if you're even going to project now, because bakery business has gone through the highs and the lows. I know there were times that you guys went all out. You even had a sit down. There was a strike.
We had a strike. Yes.
That they were fighting the price of
input of imports were going out.
Out of proportion. Warning everybody.
Yes.
Every day you wake up, bread is jumping. Yes. The 200 naira loaves went to 500 naira.
Yes.
Everything was happening. So if you're going to do like a projection, where do you think what would be the outlook of the business in another 5 years? Do you think Nigerians will get to that point that everybody's craving, exotic bread?
Like sardine bread.
There's sardine bread. Like I have a sourdough
yes.
And I found out that in Nigeria, you'd only find French pastry.
For somebody whose name is Lolo, you're quite posh, I have to say. Because everybody knows what sour bread is. It's not your local bakery.
The thing I'm saying is that Nigeria's palate seems to have adapted to only one type of bread. But there's an array of bread and how to bake them. And I don't even think it's that expensive. A lot of Africans eat flatbreads. In fact, they make flatbreads that we make pap. They just knead the dough and they just cook it on their stove. Do you see what's the evolution that you see of bread?
You've asked me so many questions so that I won't lose track. I
Let's
want to start from the last.
Yes.
You mentioned Nigerian palate. The government did something 10 years from now. They introduced cassava. When the price of wheat does not grow so well in Nigeria. So, we have cassava. They tried to introduce cassava into flour.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
It changes the taste.
Nigerians have this palate,
Yes.
We have this that we're used to.
Yeah.
So that's why the cassava bread did not work.
Yep.
We had some institute trying to introduce potato into flour. But Nigerians, when we are used to a taste, we're used to it. And it's so difficult for us to change. So that's why the white bread has been People are conscious now. We have also, we have so many of the premium bakeries. We have wheat loaves that we use
for health conscious.
For health conscious people, use less sugar, and yes, it's quite profitable. Where I see the business in another 5 years, I see the influx of foreigners into bakeries.
Into owning bakeries.
Into owning bakeries in the country.
There used to be Lebanese that had one. There was a group of Arabs went back in Apapa that had bakeries.
I see Nigeria, we are highly populated. And despite the influx of bakeries that you're talking now, I'm sure the total number of loaves being baked daily in Nigeria is not up to 200 million. So you can imagine that means we still don't have enough loaves to go around everybody if we all want to eat a loaf of bread a day. So there's a lot of opportunities. I see people coming in, like the other party that you said you didn't want to mention. That's why they came into the country. But quite all right. Nigeria, we have bread business has some dynamics that if you don't understand it, we've seen so many influx into the business. Where are they now?
Okay, so I can say
because of time.
Yes, I said let's go back to PBAN's event.
Yes, very quickly because of time.
Who are we expecting to be there? Who are you inviting?
Yeah,
What
the PBAN event is taking place at Necker House on the 14th, which is on Thursday. The event is starting at 9 o'clock. We invited a lot of professionals. No African time, 9 for 9. We're very serious about that. No, there's no Nigerian time. 9 for 9. So the event is starting. We're going to have master classes. The first master class will be from Crown Flour Mills. They are one of our major sponsors for the day. They're going to take us about profit of the theme. Maybe I should have even started with that. The theme of the day is the business of bread making, pathway to productivity, profitability, and growth. Despite the fact that we've all mentioned that bakeries are growing, bakeries are closing day in, day out. Wow. We have a platform, a WhatsApp platform. There's hardly any week that you don't see people selling their equipment,
their machinery,
and closing down. You know, the rate of coming in and going, so we now came as an association that how do we assist our members? Yeah. What do we do? How do we treat exactly that any business that is closing that is because the business is not making money. Yeah. If you are making money, you won't shut down. So that's why our theme is the business of bread making, pathway to productivity, profitability, and growth.
Okay, so Necker House.
Necker House.
Date
14th.
Time
9 a.m.
Master classes,
business strategy. We're going to talk about tax reforms. Oh, there's going to be free lunch.
These are the people coming.
And apart from that, we have exhibitors that are coming.
Is it open to the public?
Oh, yes.
Oh, don't worry.
You know, you'll be able to buy materials. Material for bakers. To buy materials at good.
It's not far from us. Don't worry. I'll let you know.
9 a.m. 9 a.m.
We'll finish the show. Some people, Mrs. Olopade, because of time, I'm so sorry. We have another guest standing by. This is actually much more interesting, I think, than many of us thought about. Because we just assume, we just go buy the bread and move on, but we don't ever think really of what's going on behind the scenes. We wish you a very successful outing with PBAN, and of course, New Central will be there.
Thank you.
Okay, now up next on the show, Judith, what's up next?
Oh yes, indeed. Look, AI is disruptive, but also it's now destroying as well, right? What was meant to create is now destroying things, and one of them, we're going to look at something. When a woman's image can be stolen, altered, and turned against her in seconds, we have to ask, who's really safe online? In a world where technology can copy your face and rewrite your story, what does consent even mean? Fancy Goodman, she's a content writer with TechCabal. She joins us to look into the dark side of generative AI and what it means for women's safety and digital freedom. After the break, stay with us.
Artificial intelligence has been called one of the greatest technological revolutions of our time. A tool that can write, draw, translate, and even think in ways that were once unimaginable. It was meant to make life easier, smarter, and more connected. But for many women in Nigeria and across the world, AI has become something else entirely, a weapon. Across social media, a disturbing trend is unfolding. Ordinary pictures are being stolen, altered, and manipulated by AI into explicit images that never existed. For some women, it's strangers on the internet using their photos for abuse. For others, it's people they know, weaponizing technology to humiliate, intimidate, and silence them. The result? Fear. Fear so real that women are deleting old pictures, deactivating accounts, and retreating from spaces that were meant to give them freedom of expression. Now, a collaborative documentary from TechCabal and Zikoko asks an urgent question. How did the technology built to help us create become a tool that violates us? Because if we're going to celebrate the power of AI, we must confront its potential for abuse and make sure that progress never comes at the cost of people's dignity. Fancy Goodman is a content writer with TechCabal and joins us now to get into a very necessary conversation. Fancy, welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you so much.
Your mother must be fancy when she gets fancy. I love that. Your name is Fancy?
Yes.
Yes. You're fancy.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start this conversation. But as we start with me, I'm interested to know what sent you guys down this path of being interested in how AI was used against women you know, because when Tolu was reading through the intro, it's enough to make someone just sit up and say, uh-oh, this is more than, it's different from, oh, I just want an AI picture of me, somebody looks like me. It's deeper. Did something happen? Was there an incident, or what led you guys down this path?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think a colleague came across a post on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
At the time, there had been a trend of people prompting Grok. Grok is the AI tool on...
Oh, Elon Musk.
Grok is the AI tool on X. So people would just... A woman would post her picture. People would go directly under the post and prompt Grok to undress her or turn her around. Very lewd prompts people were giving Grok. So, you know, it was very alarming. And before we made the documentary, actually, I and a colleague at the time wrote an article about it. And Zikoko's Citizen was planning on doing a documentary about it. So we thought, oh, since TechCabal had already written an article on it, it would be nice to collaborate with them and turn it and adapt it into a documentary.
Wow.
Wow, Grok.
Anyway, you know, this thing, I did see some very disturbing pictures that Grok was generating. I was like, what's going on? Why women? And they were doing it to like prominent women.
Bloody Civilian.
Yeah,
the recent one.
Yeah, the recent one. Anyway, in the last year, AI tools are being capable of generating lifelike images. It was very exciting to us when it started, that one. And videos have exploded online everywhere. Everybody's using AI to generate their birthday pictures. Except some.
No, I still did photo shoot.
Yeah. So what exactly is this AI facilitated sexual harassment? What does it look like? And how does it differ from the regular, traditional the online media harassment that happens on a general, every other time?
Okay. Since AI, you still have to be online to do it. It still falls under online harassment. However, what distinguishes it is the fact that now someone is prompting an artificial intelligence tool without the consent of the subjects, you know, prompting artificial intelligence to generate images, text, voice, deep fakes. It doesn't necessarily have to, you know, go as far as undress the woman, but once you've done something without a woman's consent using AI, that is already AI facilitated sexual harassment.
Does it happen to men?
Well,
Are men also undressed?
the ones we saw, it was just women that were involved. We did not see men. So that's not to say it's not done to men, but yes, those were the ones we saw. Yes, that's circulated.
According to the data from the United Nations, it's about 90 to 92% of all these images that are targeting women. And I need to emphasize, it's not just targeting women, it's targeting women and girls, underage girls. Let's keep the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, in January of 2021, one of the most fascinating things happened, and that was people were doing trends with a song by Doja, which was a refix from 1930s. Put your hands on my shoulder.
Okay.
And people would use that video and at the time, generative AI had not gotten so popular. And it made you wonder about access as far back as 2021 and things that have slipped under the cracks. And looking back now, it makes you wonder about accessibility to these tools and how it's so prominent that we're seeing 90 to 92% of the cases being only women.
So in terms of accessibility, AI is crazy now because anyone with a phone, anyone with any form of device, not necessarily just a phone, can prompt AI. You know, before when things like editing pictures could be done, you had to have Photoshop. You had to have
specific.
You had to have some level of background knowledge to edit a picture. Now you do not need that. A 5-year-old can prompt Grok. Anybody can prompt Grok. You don't even have to be tech savvy. Just write. You can even write pidgin because AI is now adapting to understand different languages and nuances.
So, and I want to just emphasize that it's not just Grok. Remember I told you guys, I even had to write something on LinkedIn about it, how concerned I am about generative AI and Nigeria in our elections. And the potential. I remember there were some funny videos of the president that had been going around, and you would look at those videos and you know they're AI. and we look at the videos of a plane in the middle of Ikeja Road here, and you know it's AI.
Yes.
But there are people behind the scenes that were creating more than the obvious ones. So I talked about the app, I think it's Sora, that came out from OpenAI. And I'm absolutely concerned about that. That app, like there's a video that people sent me, I almost could not tell it was fake. It was only because their watermark was bouncing. But there's an option, one, for you to remove the watermark, and then there are apps that will allow you to remove the watermark. And so Sam Altman, I think it is, the founder and CEO of OpenAI, somebody actually created a video of him robbing or stealing from a supermarket or robbing from a supermarket. His full face, like CCTV and everything, and you would swear that Sam Altman had robbed that supermarket. So very soon, we're going to need to prove where we are because somebody can set you up with a video somewhere else, and you're going to spend your life saying, I was at home in bed.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. I'm sorry to, move off course for a second, but there's also another app that just launched, and this time it's voice.
Oh, yeah.
The use, look, there is, it's very concerning. So they put generate. I don't know what.
It's still generative AI.
But generative AI, right? And they were using Elon Musk's voice, and they were saying they played 2 videos, and the founder was saying, "Tell which is the original," and I was wrong. So you can imagine. It was like, "Oh, that's wrong. This is AI." The voice that I thought was Elon's was the AI, and now it's supposed to be used for small businesses to be able to use for their call centers. So imagine how far we can go in altering things, right? And so at first I thought it was Grok, because Grok has issues, right? We've seen viral videos of when mothers were saying that their child was prompting Grok in their Tesla cars. Before you know it, the Grok asked them in a very, very horrible voice to send nudes. It makes you wonder, is this a Grok issue? Or is there more that we're not, more tools that we're not talking? Sora, for example, this voice generative AI, for example, and Grok, what are we looking at in terms of applications?
You can add to the question, your question of how accessible. Apparently now it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yes. So it's not just a Grok issue. I specifically was talking about Grok before because that's where we saw it on Twitter trending. But it's now everywhere, really. Any AI tool, even if they can't do it now, will soon do it. Yes. And it will be very hard, like you mentioned earlier, to differentiate between what is real and what isn't.
And anybody
I'm even happy you mentioned, speaking about elections, because TechCabal actually, we actually wrote an article about the forthcoming elections and how to, we spoke to policymakers, we spoke to politicians. If this is happening now, imagine when it's close to elections.
Well, we
would not know what a politician said.
I'm telling you, we're not prepared for what is coming. I'm going to make sure we dedicate time on Jasiri to talk about it. And generative AI, because it is a learning machine, it learns on its own. So the more you talk to something like a ChatGPT, the more it learns your language, the more it learns how you would write. So we are feeding these machines that are learning us. They're learning our biases, and they're giving it back. I need us to move forward very quickly because I want us to also touch on what some of the women told you. Can you share some of their stories? It's important for people to hear, because when you say somebody is deactivating their accounts because they created an image of them, somebody's going to be like, and so, you know, because people have had parody accounts, we've done things. And I remember, was it not the AY video? The AY video with somebody, I can't remember who it was.
One of these actors.
He had 5 fingers, and you can tell from the movement. If they do that video now, even AY himself might say, I'm not sure that's not me. So what were the stories that the women shared with you? And do you think the rise of these abuses reflects a deeper issue? We already know Nigerian society has a problem with how it views women. Don't come and tell me anything. And we like to police women's bodies. If you watch this bloody civilian situation, you would have seen it. As I was doing research, and I saw the one about Grok, tell her to turn around. And Grok is not even in its response. Sometimes it'll say it can't do something, and then sometimes it will strip women. It's not even in its response. And I think that's something that X needs to work on. But talk to us about the stories that some of these women shared with us.
Okay, thank you. When we first writing the article, we reached out to a couple of people. They were reluctant to speak at first because of the sensitivity of the issue. I remember specifically a lady that said she's Muslim, so she wears hijab. Hers wasn't even as extreme as they would make me naked. Her issue was, I don't want Grok to remove my hijab.
Oh no.
So what I'm trying to say is, when we talk about sexual harassment, it doesn't have to be as extreme as meek and naked. Why would you want to remove a piece of clothing from my body?
Somebody has decided to wear.
So me, that's, you know, I put it on. I did not know what I was doing.
Exactly.
So it's as, you know,
Basic.
She tweeted that I'm going to stop posting on X so before someone will remove my hijab, because it will be humiliating to her, because it's a revered, yes. So we spoke to someone else too who said, I think she made a post on X, and then a few minutes later she took it down immediately because someone had already prompted Grok to do something similar to her. So these are the issues. These are the issues.
We have some slides from the United Nations, and when I was doing some of the research, I didn't know that there's even a name for it. So there's technologically facilitated violence against women and girls. And what we're talking about is just a small part of TFVAGA. I hope I didn't mix that up. And it's startling. So you're seeing the prevalence go from anywhere from 16 to 58%. They're using misinformation, defamation. They're talking about women. 67% of women and girls have experienced it, reporting the tactics of misinformation and defamation. 73% of women journalists reported experience online violence. Ladies, we're sitting in a small demographic, you know, with a target on our back. And 300 million children were affected by online child sexual exploitation and abuse in 2023.
I want to see your numbers for 2025.
90 to 95% of all online deepfakes are non-consensual pornographic images, with around 90% of them depicting women. Catherine, your question has been answered.
Honestly, and whether we like it or not, and you know, I started by asking, where are the men in this? It's always nice to say, okay, so the creepy crawlies that first come out of this, and then if there are things like this, what are the checks that should be put in place for this? Okay, but away from, so we don't digress too much, let's look at human impact and beyond the screen. Because whether we like it or not, every person, whether you like it or not, behind every manipulated image or viral fake is a real person. And a real person living with the trauma, the shame, and the fear of violation, like some of the stories you just shared, that the women shared with us. All right, but for me, it's not just about privacy, eh? It's about dignity, it's about safety. So having said that, what are some of the psychological or social effects on women who experience this kind of assault?
Okay, I think beyond, it's easy for someone to look at it as just posting a picture online, but that can go a long way and say, I'm not even going to contribute to any discourse online anymore, because as a woman, I do not feel respected online.
For us sitting at this table, you didn't hear Lolo say, hey, it's already...
Lolo's taking it in.
I'm serious. You're afraid.
Yeah.
You're afraid for your children. You're afraid for your daughter. Parents now are afraid. And I'm saying that it's not a matter of now being afraid. Whether we like it or not, this breeze will touch all of us if we are not proactive. So that's why I'm saying there's psychological effects. There has to be. There are women who will tell you, don't put me. There are people who will remove themselves completely from social media space.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just don't want any digital presence. And that's because of the fear for their lives, Imagine this woman, she's a Muslim. And I can imagine how humiliating it would be for her. I just don't want any whatever laws of the court to remove my clothes.
She's self-censoring.
Yeah.
So imagine if a lady like that, they are having a campaign in a workplace, for instance, and it involves pictures and videos. She would say, no, don't video me. And she would get, you know, agitated. And her colleagues might not understand. It's not that deep, they would say.
Yeah.
But she has a place that she's coming from. Someone can take my picture one day and do something else with it. So these are the apart from psychology, it affects women in every space, really, because the world is now, you know, we've gone online. From this conversation we are having, you know, there'll be snippets on it on social media, everywhere. Imagine if that has been done to me before. I might decide not to even come on this show.
Yeah. And so your voice becomes a silenced voice in these conversations.
Yes.
You know, let me when I studied the deep dive, I hate it when I do deep dive and then I find things that I didn't want to see. So open source investigation said that users of Grok have typically done things like remove her clothes, turn her around under public images of women. Sometimes Grok did comply, generating altered images depicting women in lingerie or even in underwear while preserving their faces and backgrounds. Now, this behavior falls under non-consensual sexual imagery and digital harassment, and victims on the platform have described how they felt violated and shamed. So there was a part of something that we all missed. Remember the Senator Natasha Akpoti-Odoagan situation? Apparently, I don't know how we missed it. Did we miss it? That there were fake videos.
Yes.
So let me tell you about the fake videos. The fake videos of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Odoagan started just hours after she made the sexual harassment accusation against the Senate president on the 28th of February earlier this year. On TikTok, 3 edited videos altered her statements to suggest that she had actually had a romantic relationship with a Fabio.
Yes.
The first video had 13,200 views and 106 interactions. And then you had a second video which had 389,000 views, over 13,000 interactions. And then an analysis of that showed that the first 20 comments showed that 90% expressed negative sentiments towards her. Then the third video, which was also AI generated, falsely accused her of claiming that she was falsely claimed she was blackmailing the Senate president, had 53,000 views and 430 interactions. What does this tell you, Fancy?
Fancy, oh.
Fancy, what does this
There's
tell
problem
you?
in Jacob's house.
There is.
Really bad.
There is. So this is what I'm saying. It's not even necessarily about just image. They altered her statements. They did it without prompting her, prompting to remove a piece of clothing. So when we talk about AI, sexual harassment, AI facilitated sexual harassment, it doesn't have to be image-based. I think we should emphasize that. It doesn't have to. Anything done with the aid of AI to portray, misinform based on a woman and, her sexuality is already AI facilitated sexual harassment. And it's so scary because of the rates at which things spread now.
So
in
quickly.
2 seconds, 3 seconds, something about 13,000 views. How many minutes after someone went live? So it's very alarming.
Lolo's we know her. This quiet is that Lolo is disturbed.
Lolo is never
I'm a
this
bit
quiet.
worried because a lot. Because my head is full and I'm wondering, what are we to do? Because Grok is supposed to be a fact-finding AI tool. That's what Grok is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to be able to help you find out whether this image or that is true or fake. But if they are now using it to do what it's supposed to correct or what it's supposed to explain, is there any way we are going to be able to explain these things as time goes on? Because the more these AI tools are sharpened, the harder it becomes for us to be able to know which is true or not true. So what kind of challenge are we thinking of facing in the future? Is it that women's image is just going to, imagine this generation.
Right.
It comes out about a young girl in a public school.
Right.
That she did this and did that and did that. And she doesn't even have the capacity to be able to correct it. So is your word against something, your word against AI? How do you survive in the next coming years? Because Grok, that everybody is talking about, is supposed to be the app that you use to find if this is true or not. And they are now manipulating it. What is the future like?
I do think a lot of laws in place have to be tightened, and it has to be stricter. I remember when we spoke to an organization involved in, fact checking and all. The name of the organization is Tech Societal. So it's an NGO that girls that have been affected by this can actually run to. I remember one of the things that the representative we spoke with stated was safety by design. What is safety by design? Safety by design means that as you are a tool is being manufactured, at the back of the manufacturer's mind, things like this, questions like this should be asked. Okay, I've made a tool now. What if someone... If you watch a lot of criminal movies, you would learn that as, let's say, an investigator, you have to think like the criminal to catch the criminal.
So the worst people who can use this tool, what would they try to use this tool for?
And make sure you put safety guards.
Exactly. So I remember one of the things she emphasized was one of the best ways in terms of, in the context of safety for women, online safety for women. One of the best ways to practice safety by design is women should be in the room when these things are being designed.
Every single
Women
time.
should be in the room when these things are being designed, because if a woman was there, it would have crossed her mind.
But also, I think it's capitalism as well, right? Capitalism also plays higher.
It dismisses,
you know, safety, because when a woman is in that room, should also it means that they will have to cut. They have to cut on profits, right? And so, because you're thinking about women and children, if there are women in those rooms, but there are some women in those rooms who, at their core, is capitalism and making money, and so
profits over anything.
Yeah, so I think that it's not just women in those rooms, but also experts as well, whose job is really
policy and
is
safety,
to policy and safety. Because I'm concerned as to how social media, or the entirety of social media owners, have not been able to solve the complex computer problem of flagging every AI video, everything that is related to AI.
It should not be a choice by users. It should be part of what is folded into it.
Yeah.
So someone should not be able to have anybody remove any watermark.
And not just that, when videos are posted, like there's this. In fact, there was one time I saw it. My mom, sorry mother, I forgive her. Right? Our social media is worrisome. It's worrisome.
Our parents, yes.
Facebook and TikTok.
Oh God, Facebook
fake
especially.
information, fake medical advice, fake videos of animals, and there was one that the lion jumped on top of my car. She ran. You should not go to Kenya. Sorry, you guys stop laughing at your mother, please.
Oh my God. My mother, with my mom and my dad right now.
My father, like, I'm worried for her page, and that's because those platforms, TikTok, Facebook, which is a
different conversation,
a beehive for
these Facebooks
and Twitter as well. And Twitter as well.
My picture.
And Instagram as well as Threads. They should start flagging those videos. Immediately when it's posted,
Yes.
They should let us know.
I agree.
So let's talk about what some countries are doing, because it's not. So I saw this morning one of the reports that we ran that the Nigerian Senate is talking about what they need to do about Nigeria's digital privacy laws. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Please, let's take pages and let's even take the whole book, like Denmark. So Denmark is in the process of implementing a landmark global law. I mean, nobody has done it across the world, that would explicitly classify a person's face, body, and voice as works protected under copyright law, effectively giving individuals ownership-like control over their digital likeness. So Denmark is doing that. I know that Germany, I think France, and another country have something similar. So basically Denmark says you can't do anything with anybody's body, face, or their voice. And so you also have right of removal. You can demand immediate removal of any AI-generated content. Compensation for damage, which is really interesting, a right to claim damages if your image was used without authorization, even without proving damage to your reputation. And then also platform liability. We need to put the onus back on these platforms. So should Nigeria start considering digital consent laws? If we're going to talk about digital protection and digitalization of our economy and what all that means for our society, should we toe the line of a Denmark?
Yes, please.
We should. We started our privacy laws where people would just be sending me messages on like, I didn't sign up for this, just get a call. Like, yes, we are from the country.
Let's even talk about the loan apps. It's because it's in terms and conditions and people don't read terms and conditions and give them access to your phone contacts. But those are the kind of things we need to cut off.
Is that our government, are they really focused?
It's until one big politician finds himself in a video that cannot come and I think it was not there.
Are we going to? We are even looking at.
No. I really think that the politicians are going to be the first to fall.
What is that?
We heard you the first time.
We are looking at, we even want Nigeria, we need to even perfect the fact that just to protect even the common everyday information that is not supposed to be privy to everybody. We are still struggling in those spaces to do protection. Government needs to call. I actually think this is what they should be calling some kind of committee to look into. I mean, set up a proper committee that is filled with people that really know. I'm not talking about
we're in a dating center. Fancy, let Fancy answer. Now you people are awake on this conversation, are you?
So what should they not be, like for me, this is like a national emergency.
It's a national
It's that they need
ahead of
to quickly,
elections.
because the bad thing about Nigerians is that when we get our hands dirty, we go to the worst places with it. So that means if a Nigerian really gets a hang of some of these things, my God, you will never believe the amount of havoc and damage that we can do.
I don't think they'll
so
make
what should we be doing with the government?
What do I know?
I think they would.
I don't think they will.
Why do you think they will?
I think
Because it'll touch them.
I think people are just notorious, and because I mean we're in Nigeria.
I feel like there's something you're not saying, Fancy.
No, no, it's not that. But I think they would. I'm just really looking forward to next year and the build up towards election to see how far people would push it.
They
how
will.
far people would push it.
It's a Nigerian thing.
It will be dangerous.
We can't wait for people to push it and set communities on fire.
That's the thing. You remember
That's
Cambridge Analytica?
Yes.
Yes. So the thing about it is, it's not going to happen now. It would happen after the elections. And we saw the same thing we saw the same thing in 2014 or 2015 that brought in the late President Muhammadu Buhari. It was right after they started talking about Cambridge Analytica and how we played into that election winning. Whether we like it or not, those data would only be used to their advantage this time around. We've seen it before play out. Presidents have said that it will play out again. It can only be resolved
after the elections.
A second term is won.
Yeah, I'm inclined.
This is like I
See, there's something she's not saying, but I've read what she's not saying.
I know.
Fancy, we don't have time. I have a final question for you.
Okay.
Because it's like we're just starting this conversation. There's one article I read. There's somebody else we need to bring in to talk about this ahead of elections. And because we're sitting on a gun peg.
Whether we like it or not.
But what were the reactions to the documentary? And I'd like to hear if there were men who sort of said, oh my God, I never knew this was going on. What did this spark conversations? Because at this point now, I even think some people are going to find out that this is much more than what they thought.
Yes.
So tell us.
Okay, thank you. Last week, actually, I was at Silverbed, and the person we're speaking with was furious. He was a man.
No. Does he have a daughter or a wife?
Even if he does not, he has
Because most men don't remember these things until they have a wife or daughter.
He has sisters, he has female colleagues, he has female friends. So he was very shocked that men like me are doing this.
Absolutely.
And there's something I should mention, actually. I don't think I should leave without saying this. I think even before we wait for the government to do something, there are things we can do as
individually.
Yes. So one of the people we spoke with, when she saw this, went on LinkedIn, made a long post about it, tagged the perpetrators, the men that were doing this. One of the men I think he was doing his master's or something. She sent a message to his school. She sent a message to where he was working. Although there was no response, there was something out of it, because he came into our DM to start begging, oh, I'm sorry.
He was being held accountable.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's something around the lines of it was a joke. And
women's lives are jokes.
I've not even landed, because I commend what the lady did, because I think he applied for a job. Then during their background check, they stumbled on the lady's post and decided not to hire him. And decided not to hire him. So I feel like while we wait, while we complain, there are no laws in place, there are things we can do as a people. When things like that come up, make posts. Let there be a digital footprint that this, even if the person
screenshot everything,
even if the
don't blur anybody's name.
Yes,
let there be a footprint.
Make screenshots of everything, because the person can, go and delete
it.
But there are screenshots, evidence day, as we
say.
Evidence day. You go explain tire. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy when she said he was not able to get the job, and he was pleading in the DM. She took a screenshot of that. Okay, so we should be proactive. Everyone should be proactive.
This is a hot conversation.
There will be a 2.0.
And I can promise you that we're not done. But before we go, because I have to let Kathleen hand over, we need to say a very big birthday, a very big happy birthday to our peculiar. To our producer. November babies are fine. My almost birthday, man. Peculiar, thank you so much for everything you do behind the scenes for Justice. We love you. We love you. Peculiar.
Yeah, peculiar.
Fancy peculiar.
But you need to actually say peculiar.
Go,
take us out.
Fancy,
Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you
Because
for
whether we
having
like it
me.
or not, today's conversation has made one thing painfully clear. The threat is not just in the technology, it is in how we use it. Generative AI was built to create, but it is being used to harm. And in that gap between innovation and ethics, too many women are out there paying the price. But this is where also our power lies, in awareness, in accountability and action, because for every story of violation, there's also one of courage, of women who are speaking out, journalists and creators demanding accountability and platforms beginning to confront the harm that their tools can cause. And so on that note, it is not the end of this conversation.
It's not.
It's not.
Yes,
Well, join us tomorrow, shall we?
Exactly.
There's going to be another insightful one here on Good morning. It's live from us.